The offseason has taken on a very different tone for Los Angeles Dodgers fans over the past few days, especially as new contract rumors begin to circulate and ripple across the league. What once felt like a quiet stretch following the end of the season has suddenly turned into a moment filled with speculation, tension, and real possibility. The Dodgers are once again positioned at the center of the baseball conversation, not because of something that has already happened, but because of what could happen if the right decision is made at the right time. At the heart of it all is the growing noise around Kyle Tucker and the kind of contract he may ultimately choose. The reports floating around the league paint a picture of a player standing at a crossroads, weighing two very different paths. On one side, there is the allure of a shorter deal loaded with massive annual value, a type of contract that rewards immediate impact and elite production right now. On the other, there is the stability of a long-term commitment, the kind that locks in security and defines the face of a franchise for years to come. For the Dodgers, this is not just about money or years. It is about timing, philosophy, and how aggressive the organization wants to be during this window. Los Angeles has made it clear over the past several seasons that winning now is not a slogan. It is an operational mindset. Championships have reinforced that belief, and sustained success has only sharpened the appetite to keep pushing forward. When a player like Kyle Tucker becomes available, especially one still firmly in his prime, it naturally forces the front office to evaluate just how far it is willing to go. A short-term deal with an extremely high annual value is something the Dodgers have navigated before, but every new contract adds another layer of complexity when luxury taxes and long-term flexibility are part of the equation. That is where the tension really starts to build. A contract carrying an annual value near $50 million would not just be a line item on a payroll sheet. It would be a statement. It would signal that the Dodgers are willing to absorb a massive financial hit in the short term in exchange for elite production and another serious push at a title. The question is not whether they can do it, because the resources are there. The real question is whether they believe that kind of move aligns with their broader vision, especially when they already have a roster capable of competing deep into October. From Kyle Tucker's perspective, the decision is just as complex. A shorter contract with an enormous annual payout offers flexibility and the chance to re-enter the market while still performing at a high level. It is a bet on continued health, sustained production, and the belief that the market will remain strong. For a player confident in his abilities, that gamble can be incredibly appealing. Yet, there's always risk involved, and baseball has a way of reminding everyone how quickly circumstances can change. The Dodgers represent a unique option in this discussion because of their culture and consistency. Players know what they are getting when they walk into that clubhouse. Expectations are high, resources are plentiful, and the goal is always the same. Winning is not optional, it is demanded. For someone like Tucker, joining an environment like that on a shorter deal could be the perfect stage to maximize value, both on the field and in future negotiations. Every postseason run, every big moment, only adds to that leverage. At the same time, the financial reality cannot be ignored. The luxury tax penalties tied to a deal of this magnitude would be significant, especially for a team that has already spent years above that threshold. Each additional dollar carries extra weight, and that pressure forces tough internal conversations. Is it better to commit huge annual money for a shorter window, or to spread that investment across more seasons with slightly less annual strain? The Dodgers have been masters at threading that needle, but this decision would test that reputation once again. What makes this situation even more intriguing is that it does not feel like a traditional bidding war. This is less about teams outbidding one another and more about which vision aligns best with a player's priorities. The Dodgers, along with other serious contenders, have likely already put their best ideas on the table. At this point, it becomes a matter of preference rather than persuasion. Years versus annual value. Security versus flexibility. Legacy versus leverage. For Dodgers fans, that uncertainty creates a strange mix of excitement and anxiety. There is comfort in knowing the organization is always involved in conversations like this, always operating at the highest level of the market. There is also frustration in the waiting, in watching the offseason stretch on without a final answer. Every day, without clarity, feels heavier, especially when fans want to start projecting lineups, rotations, and realistic expectations for the upcoming season. Still, patience is part of the process, even if it does not make things easier. Decisions of this magnitude are not rushed, and they should not be. For the Dodgers, adding a player like Kyle Tucker is not about filling a hole. It is about elevating an already elite roster and extending a championship window that has been carefully built over time. Whether that comes through a bold short-term strike or a different approach entirely remains to be seen, but the stakes are undeniable. As the league waits and the rumors continue to swirl, one thing is clear. This offseason is no longer quiet, and the Dodgers are once again a central figure in shaping how the next chapter unfolds. Every development adds another layer to the story, and until a decision is finally made, the conversation will only grow louder, pulling fans deeper into the possibilities that lie ahead. As the waiting game drags on, the broader impact of this situation continues to ripple through the Dodgers' offseason plans. When a player of Kyle Tucker's caliber remains undecided, it creates a natural pause across the market, not just for Los Angeles, but for several teams that are trying to understand where they stand. The Dodgers are used to operating with flexibility, yet even for an organization this experienced, uncertainty at the top of the market can slow everything else down. Every major decision feels interconnected, and until this one resolves, the full picture remains slightly out of focus. For the Dodgers, the challenge is balancing urgency with discipline. There is no doubt that the current roster is built to compete right now, but that reality does not eliminate the need to think several seasons ahead. The front office has consistently shown a willingness to make aggressive moves when the timing feels right, but it has also avoided decisions that could compromise long-term stability. A short-term deal with a massive annual value forces that internal debate into the open. It asks whether maximizing the present outweighs the potential complications that come later. What makes this even more fascinating is how different the potential outcomes could feel, even if the dollars end up similar. A shorter contract places enormous emphasis on immediate performance, turning every season into a high-stakes evaluation. For a player, that can be motivating, but it also comes with pressure. For a team like the Dodgers, it means expecting elite production without the comfort of a long runway. Every at-bat, every postseason series carries extra weight when the window is defined so clearly. From a competitive standpoint, adding a player like Tucker would instantly reshape expectations. The Dodgers already possess a deep and talented lineup, but elite bats have a way of changing how opponents approach an entire series. One additional star can tilt matchups, alter pitching strategies, and create ripple effects throughout the batting order. That kind of impact is difficult to quantify strictly in financial terms, which is why these decisions often go beyond spreadsheets and projections. There is also the human side of this process that fans sometimes overlook. For a player, choosing a team is not only about numbers on a contract. It is about environment, comfort, family considerations, and belief in an organization's direction. The Dodgers have spent years building a reputation as a destination where players can thrive both individually and collectively. That matters, especially when options are relatively close in value. When the margins narrow, culture and confidence often become the deciding factors. As days pass without a resolution, frustration naturally grows among the fan base. Supporters want clarity, not because they doubt the organization, but because anticipation has a way of wearing people down. Every rumor feels bigger than it probably is, and every report gets dissected for hidden meaning. That is the reality of following a team that lives in the spotlight. The Dodgers are always part of the biggest conversations, and with that comes the emotional roller coaster of the offseason. At the same time, there is an underlying sense that the Dodgers are prepared for multiple outcomes. This is not an organization built around desperation. Even if this particular pursuit does not end the way some hope, the team remains strong, adaptable, and competitive. That confidence allows the front office to wait without panicking, to let the process play out rather than forcing a decision that could have lasting consequences. The larger context of the league also adds pressure. As free agency begins to move, once one major piece falls into place, others tend to follow quickly. Teams finalize plans, rosters take shape, and the focus gradually shifts towards spring preparation. The longer a key decision lingers, the more it feels like a bottleneck. Everyone is watching, not just fans, but other organizations trying to read the market and adjust accordingly. For the Dodgers, the goal remains unchanged regardless of how this unfolds. Compete for championships, maintain a sustainable model, and continue to be a destination for elite talent. Every offseason presents a different puzzle, and this one is defined by patience and precision. Whether the final answer brings a blockbuster signing or a different path forward, the process itself reflects how seriously the organization treats every move. In the end, this moment captures the essence of what it means to follow a franchise like the Dodgers. High expectations, constant scrutiny, and decisions that can shape seasons before a single pitch is thrown. The uncertainty is uncomfortable, but it is also a reminder of how high the stakes truly are. Until a choice is made and the picture finally comes into focus, all that remains is to watch, wait, and understand that the next chapter is still being written. Even within that uncertainty, there's a growing sense that the Dodgers are comfortable letting the situation breathe a little longer. This front office has earned trust by resisting emotional decisions and instead relying on a long-term vision that rarely wavers under pressure. While fans naturally want answers, internally the organization understands that the right move is not always the fastest one. Timing matters, leverage matters, and sometimes waiting allows the landscape to clarify in ways that rushing never could. Another layer to this discussion is how a potential move would ripple through the clubhouse. Adding a star of Tucker's magnitude is not just about production. It is about balance, chemistry, and roles. The Dodgers have built a roster where expectations are clearly defined and accountability is shared. Integrating another elite presence would require thoughtful alignment, ensuring that the competitive edge sharpens rather than fractures. That process is something the organization values deeply, and it factors into every major personnel decision. There is also the reality that the Dodgers have become a measuring stick for the rest of the league. Every time they are linked to a top-tier player, it forces other teams to reassess their own plans. That dynamic creates pressure from all sides, but also reinforces why Los Angeles remains such a powerful draw. Players know that choosing the Dodgers often means choosing relevance, visibility, and a legitimate shot at October baseball year after year. As this chapter continues to unfold, the silence between updates almost feels louder than the rumors themselves. Each passing day adds weight to the anticipation, not because something has gone wrong, but because something significant could happen at any moment. For now, the Dodgers remain steady, the possibilities remain open, and the offseason continues to hover in that tense space where patience and ambition collide. But before we move forward, don't forget to join our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest news about the Los Angeles Dodgers. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the news, so drop a comment below. Rumors are swirling in the Dodgers clubhouse after a surprising public exchange between pitcher YAMAMOTO and manager Rebuts caught the attention of fans and analysts alike. Sources close to the team report that tensions may be simmering beneath the polished surface of Los Angeles' roster, raising questions about the dynamics on the mound and behind the scenes. The story began when Rebuts, in a press appearance following a recent stretch of games, appeared to critique Yamamoto's approach on the pitching rubber. While the comments were measured, some interpreted them as questioning the young pitcher's decision-making and confidence. Not one to stay silent, Yamamoto responded swiftly in an interview, asserting, "I know what I'm doing on the mound." The statement, brief yet charged with emotion, immediately fueled speculation that the pitcher may be pushing back against managerial oversight or simply trying to silence doubters. Inside sources suggest that the exchange, while publicly visible, may be part of a larger, ongoing conversation between player and manager. Some insiders hint that Yamamoto has been feeling the pressure of high expectations since joining the Dodgers, particularly given the spotlight on young pitchers in Los Angeles. Rebuts, known for his meticulous approach to pitching strategy, may have overstepped, or perhaps was simply trying to guide his talent in high-stakes situations. Either way, observers are debating whether this marks a momentary friction or the start of a more significant dialogue about control, trust, and pitching philosophy. Fans have quickly taken to social media, weighing in on the debate. Some are defending Yamamoto, praising his confidence and poise, while others speculate that the manager may be trying to instill discipline or send a message to the team. Rumors have even begun circulating about whether this public spat could impact the pitcher's role in upcoming games, though insiders caution that no official lineup changes have been hinted at. Regardless of the true story, the Dodgers now face not just the challenge of competition on the field, but also the scrutiny of the baseball world, which thrives on drama and speculation. Yamamoto's firm declaration that he knows what he's doing has only intensified interest, leaving fans and analysts alike eager to see how the situation unfolds. Will this be a turning point for a confident young pitcher asserting his independence, or a fleeting spark in the high-pressure world of Major League Baseball? For now, the chatter continues, with every glance to the mound scrutinized under a new, rumor-fueled lens. That's all for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay up to date with exclusive news about the Los Angeles Dodgers, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We always appreciate your comments and feedback. See you in the next video.